that button, feel the love, it's a treat. Like, come on now, subscribe. Join the party, baby, ride the vibe. One click of love, keep the spirit alive. Hit that button and let's all thrive.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Homewood in the building. Road boy for life. 15208 forever. 412. Come holla at your boy. Alright, y'all. Just thought I'd come up on here real quick and talk about this Rodney Hinton thing. But first off, this is a fair use video. This video is for educational purposes. So with that being said, people, welcome to the stream. Welcome to the live stream. I'm on here recording a video for my YouTube channel, and I'm on my TikTok live. So let's jump right into this, shall we? Now, if you are not familiar with the Rodney Hinton Jr. case, it is a case to where Rodney Hinton Jr., his son, was, unalived by the Cincinnati police up here in Ohio. So, allegedly, this man, the next day, jumped in a car and purposely ran down a deputy. The deputy was directing traffic at the Cincinnati College campus because it was graduation. So allegedly, Mr. Hinton just crashed his vehicle into him. So there's no proof. You know what I mean? We're not going to say he's guilty because the man has not been charged with anything yet. So these are all alleged charges that he's up against. But if you have been following my channel on YouTube, I already posted some videos about this. So this one I'm doing right now, we are getting ready to, I'm getting ready to add my commentary to the Attorney General. Now, the Attorney General is trying to shut this man. They already took his GoFundMe. They already took his GoFundMe account down. Okay. For some strange reason, they took it down. So they trying to say the man is going to use the money for other intentions than what it's used for. The man's GoFundMe account, he has the right to raise that money for legal fees. He has to pay legal fees. He has to pay his lawyers. He has to do that. So why would you shut it? So why would you try to stop his money? You didn't stop nobody else's GoFundMe account, of people with that was supposed to protect and serve. When their families did a GoFundMe, you didn't shut that down after they unalived somebody with cruel intentions, And there's all types of accusations going around right now about how his son was shot. And if y'all look at my video, I'll give y'all some insight on that. So make sure y'all go check that video out. It's on my YouTube channel, Hanging with Carlos TIPTON. Make sure y'all go check that out. So, once again, this is a fair use video. This video is for educational purposes. Let's jump into it. Oh, y'all gonna be able to hear this in the background too.
I'm not going to mention the name out of respect to the family, but it is an important topic. So at this point, I'm going to have AG Davios come up. We'll hear from a couple other speakers, and then we'll take questions at the end. Thank you.
Thank you for all being here today. I want to begin by publicly expressing my continuing sorrow at the senseless murder of Deputy Henderson. I had the honor of standing witness at his funeral. However, we are not in the Attorney General's office engaged with this case. If we were, some of the things I'm about to say, I probably shouldn't say.
So, if the Attorney General is not involved in this case, why are you speaking up about shutting this man's money down? If you have nothing to do with it, why are you trying to shut this? See, here's the thing. If y'all noticed, when he first got up there and talked about it, he called it a senseless act. And what that does, ladies and gentlemen, that tries to sway you into going against everything that is being said about Mr. Hinton. They want you to portray him. They want you to look at him as being a monster instead of being a father. Now, it's a known fact that there is some shadiness going on within the Cincinnati Police Department about this case. Because for one, for anybody that follows it, if you watched when they had the man, when he went to court, the police presence that was there, that was one issue that was there. It was intimidation factor. Then after that, it was a whole bunch of other stuff. They was calling this man a monster, calling, he committed this senseless act and all the rest of this. But if you look at the video from when they first arrested him, he was coming from the hospital. He was groggy as ever. Now, the video of the car, the car is done. The car is done. The car is done. Now, the way the car looked and the way he looked, you can tell this man was not behind the wheel of that car. You can tell he was not behind the wheel of that car. But let's get back into this and finish listening to him.
And I want to make it clear that our non-involvement is a precondition to my presence here today. GoFundMe, which is the common phrase for crowdfunding sites, it's only one of several sites that do that kind of work. GoFundMe actually is a good actor in this matter. One of their competitors is hoping to raise money for the defendant in the murder case of Deputy Henderson. And I am appealing to them today to take down this site and to refund the money to the donors. Appealing to them not as a matter of law, because under current Ohio law, there are significant limits to what I can do, but appealing to their sense of conscience, to the people that own and run this site. I would suggest that maybe they ought to listen to the...
Did anybody see what this man is doing? He's trying to use intimidation tactics. He's trying to get a website to convince these people that run this website that what he's saying is a stamp of approval for them not to do this for this man. And there's no, and if you notice, he does not mention Mr. Hinton's name not one time, or his son's name not one time. Not one time does he mention this man's name. He mentions the deputy, but he does not mention this man's name. Just watch the tactics he used, the intimidation tactics, because of this. They don't see. What they're doing, they're trying to cover this up. Because you are not allowed, as any other race, you are not allowed to have a step up or to show that you're not afraid to buck against the system, or you're not afraid to stand up for yourself. You're not allowed to do that. Only they are. You know, there's his right now. His voice is bigger than Mr. Hinton's right now. For right now, it is. But if more people stand behind this case to get this man the money for his legal help, that's what that GoFundMe was going to be for. Whatever other site he went to raise money, that's what that money is for. And there is going to be bills behind that. He has a hospital bill. He has lawyer fees. He has legal fees. He has court fees that he's going to have to pay. But let's get back into this. How this man right here, I can't even call him what I want to call him, but let's just say he's on borderline of being ignorant. You know, I can't really say what I want to call him. You know what I mean? But let's get back into it.
Goals of the founders of Google, whose motto early on was, "Don't be evil." This is not a close call. There are things that I can certainly understand why a business might take the position, hey, we are a platform, we're a facility, we don't judge. And that would make a lot of sense. You don't want political popularity or unpopularity to be driving your business decisions. But this isn't a matter that is subject to that kind of a call. This ought to be a thing that everybody, right, left, in the middle, or outside the spectrum altogether, can condemn and say this is right.
I'm having glitches.
This is not good. We shouldn't be crowdfunding an evildoer.
An evildoer. He's speaking about this man like this man is a cartoon character. I mean, it's a shame because any one of these people right here in the background, they be unaliving people on a daily basis that we don't know about. You know, and it's always people, you know, I'm gonna get down with it. It's always people of color. You know, it's always people of color. This man right here, because of his complexion and who he is, he wants these people to say, hey, you know what? He's right. We shouldn't be doing this. But any one of these right here, that would have been them, their GoFundMe would have been up and still been up and wouldn't have never been shut down, or would have never been taken down. When they unalive somebody, everybody rallies behind them, or there's a GoFundMe for his legal fees, because all they do is, we're gonna put you on a what word am I looking for? We're gonna put you on paid leave. We'll let you go from this precinct, but we'll send you down to this precinct, knowing you got a list this long of violations that you're going down to the other precinct with, and you're not doing nothing but taking that baggage down there. It's just crazy how they always try to make it seem like we're not supposed to have no type of representation. We're not supposed to raise no money for nothing. We're not supposed to do nothing but sit back and take everything they say as take their word as law. That time is coming past. If they're not recognizing that, then I feel sorry for them. Well, let's get back into this.
Now, the competitor to this site, GoFundMe, is a good citizen in this matter. They actually have a policy that says we don't do crowdfunding for people who are accused of violent crime.
He hasn't been accused of anything.
It is consistent with...
He hasn't even been charged.
And in fact, there were several attempts to start a GoFundMe page for the defendant in this case. And GoFundMe, consistent with their policy, took those pages down as soon as they found them and sent the money back to the donors. That's what should happen here. Well, we have looked I've had several questions.
I'm having glitches like crazy.
The son of Sam law, the Berkowitz case in New York, created laws at the state level around the country. We have one here that prevents the selling of the story for personal gain from.
My baby's on my live. She like my joints. Thank you,
I've
baby.
looked at that statute. I've also looked at Title 17 of the Ohio Revised Code, which discusses the rules and requirements around charitable fundraising. And I don't see anything at the moment that jumps out as a clear legal theory under current law. The son of Sam law was not written.
Does any I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm not the smartest dude on the planet when it comes to laws and stuff like that. But why is he mentioning the son of Sam law? If y'all have been paying attention and hearing him and listening to him while I'm on this live, y'all hear how he's trying to make this man sound like he's the most evilest person walking the planet. When the most evilest people walking the planet is standing right behind him. And he's probably one of them. On any given day, they will start. If GoFundMe shuts any one of these down, they'll have something to say. He's holding a press conference. He's holding a press conference to stop this man from, to stop people and stop this man from raising money and to stop people from giving him money for legal fees. He's going to need legal fees. He is going to need legal fees. And like I said, the man wasn't even driving the car. And they know that. But they're not going to let nobody else know that because the person that was driving the car passed away. It was an older lady that was driving the car that Mr. Hinton was in that actually struck the deputy. She passed away. So what do? The next person that they see, the only person they can blame it on is Mr. Hinton. For the Cincinnati police to unalive his son the way they did. Oh, excuse me. That video is going on my channel too. About the what is it? The coroner? The medical examiner. Yeah, the medical examiner. That's going on my YouTube too. I'm gonna discuss that too. We can discuss that too. Y'all can come on and we can discuss that too. Y'all can jump up here. We can discuss this right now.
In fact, it was before we had such a thing as crowdfunding, a relatively recent phenomenon. It may well be that the General Assembly of Ohio should undertake to pass a law that would regulate this kind of thing as being contrary to the public interest. It would be, I think, pretty easy to enact a law that made GoFundMe's
Watch he mention the deputy again.
The state that we may not do crowdfunding for someone accused of a
Oh, that sound y'all hear? That's my foot massager too.
That as it may,
so y'all don't think I'm up here squeezing one out.
That the platform will itself, because it is the right thing to do, follow their own path. Their terms of service allow them to be to cancel a page if it's a violation of community standards. I certainly think that the murder of a law enforcement officer is something that would violate this community standards.
I wonder why I'm getting so many glitches. Oh, it's because of the storm. Notice he said murder. He didn't say unalive. Sorry for the glitches,
At this time, we're going to have Zachary Gottsman come up. He is the attorney representing the Henderson family.
Now, y'all see all these? Look. What do you need all these police officers there for? If you hold a press conference to get a man's GoFundMe shut down, what do you need them? What do you need all them there for? I'll say you would need one or two. Two at the most. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 that I can see in this video. You got 7. We don't know who else is in here. But let's get back to this dude walking up here like his knees is shot.
My name's Zach Gottesman. I'm counsel for the Henderson family. First, as an initial matter, I'd like to thank General Rose for coming forward to address this disgraceful situation. While the Attorney General has limited tools at his disposal on how to respond to this situation,
This man can barely talk.
there are legal and equitable claims available to the family that are more broad and give them more tools at their disposal. It is our intention to pursue all claims at their disposal to the fullest extent possible, because it is shocking to the conscience that Give, Send, Go would host a campaign for fundraising for someone who murdered a Hamilton County Sheriff's Deputy.
Notice they keep saying murder.
It's a flagrant violation of Ohio public policy.
You don't have to be a psychiatrist to know that they are using certain words to trigger people's doubts. You know what I mean? Just to trigger people, period. They're using certain words. It's a certain type of psychology that they use when they put their words together. And they put these words together so good that you'll sit up there and be like, even if the man would have ran over a butterfly on the window, and some environmentalist was after him and wanted him locked up, they'll use certain words for you. They'll use certain words to trigger in you that will help them along on their agenda. Because if you notice, he said the word murder at least 3 times already. But we can't say that. We have to say unalive. Yeah, you can't say that. So why? So what gives them? And this is what I mean. This is what I mean. They done said it like 3 times. Like I said, this video is for educational purposes. This is a free use video. So I don't want no strikes going against me if I use certain words. I'm just stating the obvious fact that they're sitting up there saying these words, but I can't sit here on live and say the same words. I have to refigure and recalibrate everything I say to y'all. You know what I mean? You understand what I'm saying? I gotta remix everything I say to y'all because I can't use certain words while I'm online. You know, it's crazy, man, because this dude can barely walk, he can barely talk, and they're sitting up here really, really mad because this man is getting money for his legal fees.
Anyone should profit from their criminal acts, and it is our intention as attorneys for the family to take legal actions to put an end to that and to recover any proceeds and ensure that those proceeds are disgorged so that this criminal and his family do not profit.
Notice he called him a criminal. Notice he called him a criminal, and he's saying he's profiting off of it. How is he profiting off of this? He's not buying anything. He's not selling anything. This is not this man's business. This is not this man's business. So what profit is he making off of this? What profit is he making off of this? But if you notice, they never mention the officers that was involved in the unaliving. There's no mention of them. I mean, but there is now. There is now. Through people going, doing their research, doing deep down research, they found out who the officer was. But it was more than just him. So there's so many cover-ups in this that, as us coming, we're on the outside, we're looking in. We're watching, we're looking, we're listening. They call us internet detectives. They call us keyboard sleuths. Because we sit back and we look and we watch and we look and we watch and we look and we watch, and you can see it for yourself. Something ain't right about this. Something is not right about this. And there's eyewitnesses that stated that this man is not the man that was driving that car that hit that deputy. So how are they continuing going on with their lie? They tell this lie. They tell this lie, then they tell the lie to cover up that lie. Then they tell another one to cover up that one. Then they tell another one to cover up that one. They tell another one to cover up that one, to where you ain't got nothing else to fib about. You ain't got nothing else to fib about. You done bent the truth so much, you ain't got nothing else to fib about. So all of a sudden, all the truths start popping out from out of nowhere. Your skeletons in your closet is full. They spilling out. It's mind-boggling, man. It's mind-boggling. In certain ways, I'm happy that me and my wife do not have to deal with the ignorance and the stupidity out in society, especially when it comes to people like this. Keep to ourselves. And it's a shame that, condolences go out to the Hinton family for their loss. The loss of life, period, is never good. It's never a good thing. It's never a good thing. It's never a good thing. This. Let's get back into it, man. I be getting flustered.
Definitely. Thank you.
At this time, Chief Wallace, who is also a member of the SHIELD, will come up. He has a statement from the family.
Thank you. First, let me start off by thanking the media for continuing to give the family the privacy they deserve at this time. Above all else, I want to protect the legacy of my husband, Larry Henderson. He was an outstanding deputy, a loving husband, a devoted father, a kind and decent man. It's heartbreaking that his name is now being connected with something so painful and inappropriate. And an attempt.
Now, I mean, let's do this. Let's do this, y'all. Let's do this. The deputy that was hit by the car didn't have anything to do with the shooting. It was unfortunate that he was caught in that time frame, in that period. Condolences do go out to his family. But this deputy, as it may sound mean, it may sound cruel, but he was a circumstance. He was a casualty of circumstance. Is that sounds good, right? Yeah, he was a casualty of circumstance, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't use the big frame word, babe. But I can understand I can understand how people feel about the loss of a loved one. I can personally understand that. More times than anybody, I can personally understand that. But don't paint don't paint Mr. Hinton as a criminal. This is just an evil person. You know, he maliciously went out to do this. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. Because he wasn't driving. The man was. They had to wake the man up to get him out the car. He was asleep in the car, whatever car he was in. But let's get back into this. I want to hear what he got to say.
Sent by others to benefit from a tragic of a death. Throughout the incredibly difficult time, our family has been overwhelmed by the outpouring love and support from the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office, surrounding law enforcement agencies.
I just want to say this real quick. For those of y'all that came in on the live on the TikTok, appreciate y'all. Welcome. Appreciate y'all.
And most importantly, the community. The compassion and strength has helped carry us through the darkest days. We are so grateful. What's most important to me is Larry is remembered for how he lived, with honor, courage, and love, not for the circumstances of his death. We hope that moving forward, his memory will continue to inspire others to serve with the same heart and integrity that he has always showed. Lastly, I want to thank Attorney General David Yost for his leadership, understanding as we navigate this horrific tragedy. His support means more than words can express. Thank you.
At this time, we will take questions from the media.
So we have not looked into the identity verification that this particular site uses. So I don't know whether there is sufficient cause to believe that they are. On the other hand, I also don't know that.
And you know, here's the funny thing about it. They didn't shut down George Zimmerman's GoFundMe. They didn't shut down Kyle Rittenhouse's GoFundMe. Who else? They didn't shut down what's that lady called Amber something?
Geiger.
Yeah, Amber Geiger. They didn't shut hers down. You know, they all the people I just named. You know, even the police officer that unalived George Floyd, they didn't shut nothing that had to do with them down. Nothing at all. I don't care what state, what city they're in. They did not shut their GoFundMe down. So why shut this man's GoFundMe down? GoFundMe already took it down. So why are y'all trying to go to the other place to shut it down? Y'all can't control everything. You already control the land we on, the roads we drive on. Next thing you know, they're going to control the air we breathe. You know, it's all about control. You're not allowed to have or do these things without their permission. Once again, you are not allowed to do these things without their permission. They get mad when you do it and it does go through and it does happen for you. They get mad about that and they try to run you and ruin you, just like they called him a criminal. You know. Oh, he's profiting off of this. What is he selling? Because in order for you to make a profit off of something, you have to be selling something. Am I right? I am right? You have to actually be selling a product to make a profit. So if he's not selling anything and he's labeled as a criminal, what is a criminal selling that he's making profit off of? Somebody please explain this to me like I'm a 2-year-old. What is he profiting? What is he profiting? The man's mental state is gone because the son's not here. And they're just up there like that means nothing. Like that means nothing. It's all about who they want to put in the forefront and who they want to shove and bury in the back. They're going to continue on trying to make this man out to be a criminal. But like I stated in a couple of my videos earlier, in certain circles, this man is going to be held as a hero. He's going to be held as a hero for the simple fact that it's going to be made to look like he took matters into his own hands about losing his child to authority figures. And it's going to look like in I ain't going to say certain circles. In circles, it's going to look like he said, you know what? Today's the day y'all going to mess around and find out what it means to take mine. I'm going to take yours. It's going to, and if it already picked up speed. I know it already picked up speed, but it's going to start being labeled eye for an eye. You take one of mine, I'll take one of yours. That's how it's going to be looked at. And that right there, they don't want. They don't want because it's getting to the point that where people are getting mad. People are getting mad behind the ones who claim that they are there to protect and serve. But y'all the ones that's doing the most unaliving. For no reason at all, then y'all want to go ahead and say, oh, I fear, I was in fear for my life. How you in fear for your life when somebody is running away from you with their back to you? What is their back going to do? Hit you? I ain't never heard about nobody's back hitting nobody. Unless you a wrestler.
There are reasons to disbelieve it. I would think that the family, if somebody was pirating this, so to speak, they probably would have said something by now. Yeah, we sent a letter. Not yet. We just sent. Yeah, I'd love to see them do that.
For those of you that are going to watch this video when I upload it, I am sorry for the glitches. We are having a storm out here, and it's kind of messing with everything.
Look, these kinds of things are first of all, is that the GoFundMe rules, or that's there? Okay. It is not necessarily that we're making the argument, although I think that you can make that argument. These are internal terms of service. They get to choose whether they live by them. They are not enforceable.
But y'all want them to be enforceable. Y'all want them to follow y'all rules.
Compel them to live up to their own terms of service.
This guy right here look constipated.
Well, for starters, if you read the page, that's not what it says. It says that they're raising money for the decisions the family may have to make. I don't know what that means. It certainly seems quite a bit broader than we're trying to raise money. But the bottom line is that I think it should be the policy of Ohio that crowdfunding platforms are not permitted to raise money on the back.
Now, low key, he's trying to get everybody in, all these politics. He's trying to get them to make that a law. That's why he keeps saying Ohio should do this. It should be this in Ohio. It should be that way. He's going to try to. That's what I'm saying. They use certain things because certain people listen and certain people watch. They play the background. He's trying to get them to go ahead and do that. So from now on, when something like this happens, a person of person of melanin will not be able to get money on the GoFundMe. Because now everybody's going to look, oh, he wants to make a profit. You can't make a profit off of GoFundMe.
But that he's getting money off of Give, Send, Go.
Yeah, that's the other
one.
Yeah. And then, but
they're trying to stop that.
Yeah.
They already took the GoFundMe.
Yeah, the GoFundMe is down.
Yeah.
The other one, now that's what I'm saying. They're trying to get it to where if you notice what he just said, it should be a law in Ohio that this should be this way. The not GoFundMe. It's like GoFundMe, but the man is like I said, the man is raising money for court fees. He's not making a profit off of it, like the other guy that looked like he had the doo-doo was up there talking about. He's not making money off of this. He's not profiting off of this.
It's a notorious and disgusting crime. Period.
Notorious and disgusting crime. Notice the words he used.
And you know what? Well, first of all, that's not what the page says, and I'm going to push back on your bad facts. But beyond the bad facts, there's a constitutional right to have a crime, or to have a defense against a crime, and the city of Cincinnati and the county of Hamilton and the state of Ohio are going to provide an indigent defendant with the resources to do that if they're unable to provide it for themselves. That's
That reporter just told him to his face he's raising this money for defense purposes, for his defense. They want to appoint him one of their people to go in there and don't say nothing. Everybody knows what a public defender does. Everybody knows what a court-appointed attorney is. That's what they want him to have. Everybody knows a court-appointed attorney doesn't do jack doo-doo for you at all. They just sit there, look at the judge. Well, Your Honor, no. This man wants to get a good defense for himself. He wants to hire a good lawyer. Henceforth, that's what that money is for. The reporter just told him. That's why he got mad and agitated just now. Let me tell you something. Did y'all see how mad he got? Looked like his tie was getting ready to pop off. But
it's different than going out on the street and using technology to crowdfund nationally. I think that it's a horrible use of the charitable system, and I'm against it.
Doesn't that make it trickier if they kind of allude to the fact that they're trying to help with mental health and couldn't you get around any kind of reasonable? I see how a company can make a policy like that. It's difficult. Would it be difficult for a state to make a policy? Because now you got to sort out whether they're trying to make it a defense fund or some medical issue. Does that make it more difficult?
The only reason anybody cares about this is the violent crime that was committed. And the way that...
That's not why anybody cares about that. The violent crime. But what crime is he talking about? Is he talking about the unaliving of Mr. Hinton's son? Because that was way more violent than... I mean, it was still violent, but that was way more violent than the deputy getting struck by the car. So what violent crime is he talking about? Told you I got to pay attention to these words and how they put them, how they try to sway people with the words that they say. They think they real slick.
It is being whipped up by some people into a cause célèbre. So no, I think the accusation of the violent crime is sufficient to say crowdfunding doesn't go here. Even if it's mental health, where did that?
That's almost what this.
You want to grill on it.
And I was also interested in what the family could do with these things.
Well, they have a private right of action for the wrongful death. If they're.
You hear the reporter grilling him?
Somebody saying, well, with the medical condition, to make that fit, all the standards that you would have to for a law would be difficult.
I disagree. Now, obviously, that's why we have a legislature. The Attorney General does not write and pass laws, and I'm sure that some of these questions would be debated. But this would be a fairly easy law to write, that crowdfunding is not available if you're a criminal defendant. And it's a bright line rule that would be easily enforceable. Now, you might ask, is that wise, or should there be exceptions to it? I don't think so. I think that if you've been accused of killing a cop deliberately, which is what happened here, that's your first order of business. Everything else.
So what about cops accused of killing regular citizens, normal citizens, that y'all had and put away until y'all feel as though that there's enough evidence against the victim to make them look bad, then y'all try to pull the cop back out to make him look like he's justified in anything that he did? These people, oh my goodness, man, these people, man, it's sickening. It's sickening that this country is even like this, man. It is sickening. It is straight sickening that this country is like this.
Is secondary, and the public has a right to want to intervene in how you're going to raise money in for every sympathetic person across the country. It's going to make this very asymmetric.
Thank you. General Yost should be applauded for stepping forward to address this. He's limited with the tools available to him as Attorney General. The family isn't so limited. There is a clear public policy in Ohio. No one is allowed to profit from their criminal acts. One of the
there you go again.
One of the fundraisers on this Give, Send, Go campaign is the defendant's wife. That's his family directly profiting. Now, it's not up to the Attorney General or the legislature to dig in and
now, when he goes to court and he's going to bring that up, he's going to keep mentioning that they were profiting off of this. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, what is he profiting? What is he profiting? Because you don't even get that money right away. Even if you do it, you don't even get that money right away. It goes, the man's wife is on there because he needs the legal help. He needs money for legal fees. Just like the family of the deputy needs money for legal. I just had to shut up real quick. Just like the deputy's family needs money for legal fees, right? And the reason why I said I had to shut up real quick because I was getting ready to say something else. But the deputy's family needs money for legal fees, right? How are they going to raise the money? All that money for legal fees going back and forth to court. For lawyers, court costs, and all the rest of that comes with court costs. When you go to court, you pay for all of these people right here. That's why your court costs be so high, because you pay for him to get a area rug in his house. You pay for him to get some more motor oil on his hair, and you pay for him to spray some more hairspray on this bald spot on the top of his head. That's what you pay for. You know, I'm just using all that for metaphors, but that's what you pay for. You pay for all the politicians to go on trips, to go to little motels with their little mistresses or whoever. You know, they might be some bandits. You might be paying for that. You know, they might want to play dress up. You might be paying for that. Court costs don't go for all the way to what it is. That's why they charge you so much. The officer fund, the firefighter fund, the judge fund, the bailiff fund, the court stenographer fund, whatever. That's what you're paying for.
And see where that money went, how it was spent. Was it used for counsel? Was it used for something else? The family, through private action, can delve into those issues. There's something more, and I think it's especially repugnant.
He can barely
Give,
breathe.
Send, Go makes money off every penny donated into these crowdfunding campaigns. They are commercially profiting off the murder of this deputy. That's repugnant. That should be outlawed. Our legislature should take action to prevent that and make sure that's not available to commercially profit off the death of an officer killed in the line of duty. So the family will be taking steps to delve into those issues. You're right. Criminal defendants are entitled to a defense. That's not what these pages say they're for. There's no accountability about how these funds are distributed. And let's not kid ourselves. They're not under oath when they write out those blurbs on Give, Send, Go. They can write whatever they want to circumvent and use the argument, circumvent this public policy and use the argument you just raised about this is for my criminal defense. I guarantee you this money is not being used for criminal defense dollars. So we'll find out.
Loosen up that tie, brother. You be able to talk.
My name's Tom Browns. I'm one of co-counsel with Zach here. And one of the things I'd like to point out, and I understand the concerns you raised by your question, but you know that old saying, when people tell you who they are, believe them. These comments on Give, Send, Go are unbelievable, despicable, atrocious. And Give, Send, Go knows that's the comment people are leaving on their site, and they're accepting this money and taking a fee from it. This is not the example that's defensible, right? So sometimes you get a law and you pass a law
They want to
and there are
control
unintended
everything,
consequences.
man.
Not this case. You cannot defend these donations as they exist, as the donors are expressing themselves on Give, Send, Go.
So people are not allowed to express themselves no more. We're not allowed to do nothing no more. Our freedom of speech is slowly being taken away, ladies and gentlemen. In a minute, we're going to have to write notes and just put them up to the screen like this so y'all can read them. We're not going to be able to say anything. You can't stop people from leaving a comment on something that has nothing to do with what is going on. That website has nothing to do with it, with this case. They can't control what people say. They can't control what people say. People. There may be some derogative. It may be some derogative stuff going on there that's being said that we don't know nothing about. But you're not going to stop people from saying what they want to say. Did you stop fat boy right there that could barely breathe and barely walk from calling this man a criminal and a murderer, or saying this was a violent act? That's offensive. He moved his imaginary hair out his face. Like
Maybe if you tell us the question, they would decide whether to step up. What particular comment are you going for? Death to all Nazis, right? That comment, I saw that. Yep. That's and so gives it. But, I'll step aside, but before I do, let me finish with one more thing. Give, Send, Go has rules for service, terms of business, where they have guidelines for what they will and will not accept on their platform. Those comments you just read, and many more just like them, are a clear violation of their own terms of service that they do not enforce. Under the law, if you assume a duty, you fulfill that duty, or you face consequences for not doing so. So, with that said, I don't know if there's
Yeah, go sit down and catch your
another
breath.
officer, if somebody wants to step up and speak to it.
I'll walk up to say something. I'm not prepared to speak outside of what I said about the family, but you're talking about hate rhetoric that we deal with every day of our life. This is no different than anything. If we block that out and we don't worry about that, because every day we do our job, we're dealing with hate across this country. It doesn't matter whether it's a result of this crime or any other crime. So it doesn't change anything with us.
They deal with hate.
Well, it doesn't.
How many people on this live? By just a show of hands on this live on TikTok right now. How many people really actually trust the police? Wherever you live at, how many people really trust the police? Whatever state, whatever city, whatever county, whatever borough you live in, how many of y'all really trust the police? And they say they get death threats. This is and this is coming from, I guess this is the police chief up in Cincinnati. If anybody has been following anything up in the state of Ohio, already know. Nobody trusts the police nowhere. Not in Toledo, not in Cincinnati, not in Cleveland, especially here in Akron. What else? Yeah. State of Ohio, period. Nobody trusts the police no more. And, we're going to get back into this video in a minute. Back in the day, I was just telling my wife, back in the day, the police, man, people used to look up to the police. The police used to know you by name. You know what I mean? Used to know them by name. They knew who your kids was, everything. Back then, the police really actually stood for serve and protect. They wasn't riding around just causing, just because you look a certain way. They didn't really mess with you back in the day. If you looked a certain way, they didn't mess with you. They only mess with you if you did something, if you stepped out of line, if you did something that provoked their curiosity. Nowadays, they'll pull you over if they don't like the way you dressed. You look suspicious. You fit the description. Description of what? You could have on a suit and tie, get out of a brand new Lamborghini, and they'll still say you fit the description. The car fits the description of an incident that happened down the road here. Huh? Since when? So y'all gonna have to show me some footage. Because if I'm in a suit and tie and getting out of Lamborghini, I'm not committing no type of robberies, no type of crime, no nothing. My only crime is getting out that car looking good. That's it. That's it. They'll pull every excuse, any excuse in the world to try to make you look bad. So that way, because now the police don't care. Police. Let's get back to this, and I'm gonna finish what I was saying.
Because we deal with it every day. It's just what we deal with in our job on a day-to-day basis. We don't drive down the street and everybody weighs us with a full hand. There's hatred toward us, and we know that. You can ask any policeman up here; they deal with the same thing. If we let our emotions get the best of us when we're dealing with the public, we're not doing our job. Everybody in life has biases, right? And you identify your biases, and you put those. You got to let things go when you do your job. Our priority is to provide service to this public, whether the public likes us or doesn't like us.
Let me just add that this is two separate cases. So the people are responding to the use of force critical incident involving Ryan Hinton. That is completely different than what we're talking about here today. If Ryan Hinton,
he finally mentioned the young man,
gone from us at a very early age. If there's a website, if there's a funding page for him to help with his funeral expenses, to help his family, that's a different kind of thing.
Now, what he did right there, y'all, remember when he walked off? Well, y'all can't see, but this is for my peoples on my YouTube. When he walked off to the side, somebody went and told him, hey, you can't sit up there and do that. You're going to have to mention this young man's name. Because there's two different cases here. You're going to have to mention this young man's name. So in other words, you're saying that nobody can raise money for this young man? For burial costs? For hospital bills? Because the hospital bills is out the roof. You can't do that. You're going to have to mention this young man's name. You're going to have to cut that in half. Because you're sitting up there talking about the state of Ohio should make this a law, make that a law, that you can't get these kind of GoFundMe's or whatever the name of the page that Rodney Hinton Jr. is on. You're trying to say the state of Ohio should make it that you can't get this, because in fear of you're going to just profit off of it. No. In one way, shape, or another, you're going to have to mention this young man's name, because the family is doing something for him too. But like I said before, the officers that are involved in this unaliving, they're going to have legal costs and lawyers too. So are you going to shut theirs down behind the violence that they committed? Like I said, you got to watch how they play, the wordplay that they use and the tactics that they use. Now he comes back to the podium and mentions the young man who was unalive. Now he comes back to the podium and mentions that.
But then what we're talking about here today, why all of us are here, is because his father used his motor vehicle as a deadly weapon and killed a man who had nothing to do with this while he was on duty as a law enforcement officer. That's what's not okay. Now let's not conflate these two issues. And you in the media can and should help educate the public that these are not the same case. In spite of the fact that there's a father and son relationship, there's two different sets of actions and two different reasons for raising money. And the latter one is contrary to the public interest. particularly under the broad
Y'all see my
rubric
face, right?
of this particular page.
Yeah, I know, it says that, but once the money goes to this family, if they had more than enough to cover the family expenses, assuming that's what they actually need the money for, or this is actually who's raising the money, we don't even know who's raising this money. Once they get that money, we've got two separate pages, one family, that funnel, you can't stop that, that's the problem with the funnel. I mean, this one seems to be okay, they want to raise money to save money for the funeral expense. This one we're trying to use it as money to, defend the guy who's accused of killing the deputy. The same family.
Now, what he should have did when he came up there the first time is made sure that he was that he separated the two. The father and son, he should have did that for the door. Don't come back halfway through the press conference when the press conference is almost over and talk about the young man and his GoFundMe. Don't come back and do that. You should have did that. You should have separated them when you first opened your mouth, when you first held the press conference. So I said, when he walked away from that podium, somebody pulled him to the side and told him to do that. That's why for those of you that, please go on my YouTube page and look at this video. That's why his demeanor changed. His whole demeanor changed. That's why his demeanor changed when he went up there.
The same money, and that's what becomes difficult to unwrap that fishing line, isn't it?
So the first one is not benefiting from the murder of a police officer. The second one is. And I think, and this is where the public interest of the state of Ohio comes in.
The description doesn't say that this is for the defense, that it's for the right of the guy who's being accused of killing the guy. Why is that not something that you can take action against if it is profiting from a alleged crime?
The Son of Sam law, which we can provide you a copy of, and you'll see it, is very specific about the nature of the contract that is involved. It has to be a contract for telling the story, expressing the experience in some way. It's designed for TV rights, movie rights, books, and that sort of thing. The situation here is narrow enough that it doesn't fall within the sweep of that law, which was created before we even had crowdfunding, to be honest. It's a 1990s vintage law.
He's trying to pull a law from the 90s up to the 25s. Boy, I tell you, these people, they'll do anything to keep their foot on your neck.
Well, look, you couldn't crowd fundraise to raise money to buy methamphetamine for everybody. You couldn't fundraise to poison the water. There are all kinds of reasons why the public interest would limit freedom of action. So the voluntariness of this doesn't particularly bother me. The constitutional question is a good one. And under the First Amendment, the state government may regulate speech if there's a compelling governmental interest and that it is narrowly tailored. Now that's called strict scrutiny, and the joke amongst lawyers is strict in theory, fatal in fact. But there are moments where a law will pass strict scrutiny. I think this is one of them. And recognize that we have long regulated fundraising, charitable organizations, and charitable fundraising, and it is perfectly within the bounds of the Constitution. That's what I'm asking for here, is a reasonable rule, common sense rule that will reflect that.
Are you seeking a partner with the legislators or legislators?
I haven't gotten that far. I don't know if Zach has talked with any legislators at this point or not.
I address that. There's a state representative, Cindy Abrams, who's been a strong proponent for law enforcement. And there's another state representative here locally named Michael Odioso. I've spoken with Mr. Odioso about a legislative amendment or new action, modifying the current Son of Sam law or passing new legislation. He has informed me that he's been in touch with Cindy Abrams. And
man, did you hear what he just said? He was just talking to Odioso. You know, that's his homie. He was talking to Odioso about redoing the Son of Sam law. Like, you're just going to go in there and change a law that's been in effect since the 1990s. You're just going to go in there and change it to fit your narrative.
This is a dog-eat-dog world.
Yes, it is. It is. This is
a bad country that you can live in.
Man, no. And I don't care if people get mad at me, but this is a third world country. The United States is a third world country.
Yes.
Any other country takes care of their citizens. We was just looking at a video, but hold on, let me finish this off.
To come up with that legislation. So, excuse me.
At this time, we're going to conclude. If there's any follow-up questions, please reach out to the Attorney General's office from a communication standpoint. Happy to answer any questions. Thank you very much for coming. Appreciate your interest in the topic.
Thank you.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, as they walk off, they can walk off and do whatever. But this is not for my live feed. We're gonna keep my live feed going for a minute. This is for my YouTube channel. You know, this is for my day ones. This is for my day ones. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Thank y'all for riding with me. Thank y'all for coming along on this journey. So, till next time. Peace. Love y'all. Stay blessed.